is hosted by the Philippine government on the campus of the University of the North is SEARCA's immediate response to the emerging impact and communication technology platforms to inform, to educate, and to and tested technologies, as well as the best practices on the ground. If you are new to this webinar, this is actually the 15th webinar since it was launched last April 28th. Under the 11th five-year plan, SEARCA recognizes the unique and important role of young people in agricultural transformation in Southeast Asia. We hope that this Solve webinar series will serve as a platform to discuss the problems and challenges that directly impact the lives of our young people, including the women, as well as allow them to share their solutions and successes. But before we proceed to our online conversation this morning, please allow me to just quickly go over some very interesting statistics gathered from the Solve webinar held last week, which is August 12th. So you can see the picture in your screen. So the infograph shows that 67% of our online viewers last August 12 were female and the rest were male. This has been the consistent trend over the past 14 Solve webinars that we've had, where women consistently dominated our online attendees. The infograph also indicates that 129 individuals tuned in via Zoom, while more than 650 viewed the webinar through SEARCA's Facebook page. And lastly, we are happy to note that we've had online attendees not only from the Philippines, but also we had from Canada, Indonesia, Laos, PDR, Malaysia, Mexico, Singapore, South Africa, Taiwan, Timor-Leste, Vietnam, UK, and the US. Again, thank you so much for attending our last week's webinar. Now allow me to quickly go over the program flow for today's webinar, which is currently shown on your screen. So after my introduction and a few housekeeping points, our first speaker, Mr. Leo Manuel Casaclang, will present how to turn a family farm into a successful agribusiness venture. It will be followed by Ms. Sel Rechaney's presentation on women entrepreneurship and her experience as a youth leader in her community and an advocate of organic vegetable gardening. And last but not the least, we'll have Mr. Leo XL Fuentes Jr., who will share the tasks and prospects of the youth in agriculture and genuine rural development. The question and answer session follows after all the presentations. So I know that you are very much excited right now, right, to listen to our speakers. But let me first encourage you to send us your questions. For those of you who are tuned in via SEARCA's Facebook page, you may type your questions in the comments section. However, if you are registered and tuned in via Zoom, please post your questions or comments in the Q&A section that you will see at the bottom or top of your screen, depending on the gadget you are using. We will also collate the questions, and once we are in the Q&A session, our speakers will address them in the time remaining. Also, may we request you to please kindly indicate your location and also, if you must, your country of origin. It will be good for us to know where you are watching this webinar. Also, we encourage you to please like SEARCA's Facebook now by pressing the little thumbs up sign just below the cover photo for us to remain socially connected. As you know, by liking our Facebook page, you will regularly receive updates on our learning events, things like webinars like this, postings on recent developments in agricultural and rural development. Please note that today's webinar is being recorded and it will be made available on SEARCA's Facebook page and YouTube channel. You may also subscribe to SEARCA's YouTube channel. All right, so in addition, today's presentations will be made available on SEARCA's website at www.searca.org. The slides shown during the past webinars have already been posted on SEARCA's website. We will also be live tweeting, all right, this webinar. So you can join in the conversation by using the hashtag SEARCASolve. All right, so if you have any issues or are experiencing any technical difficulties with the Zoom online platform, please email, all right, my colleagues at solve@searca.org. All right, so I think we're now ready and settled. So moving on to the webinar, our first speaker is a 26-year-old graduate of the Bachelor of Science in Entrepreneurship from the University of Santo Tomas. He started farming in 2016 and is an NC2 holder for organic production and agripreneurship. Lastly, he is a farmer and he is the owner of LocalRoots Agricultural Farming and Services. Let us give a warm round of applause to Mr. Leo Manuel C. Casaclang.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you for having me here. Today my presentation is about farming it forward, turning a family farm into a successful agribusiness venture. So again, I'm Leo Casaclang. I am the owner of LocalRoots Agricultural Farming and Services. So let me tell you a bit about LocalRoots. So LocalRoots is located in Sariaya, Quezon. It is 20 hectares of land, and it was established in 2019, and it is now a ATI learning site. So we plant different types of vegetable here in the farm. Some of the examples are different types of lettuces, tomatoes, sitaw, okra, Japanese cucumber, and many more. We also have different types of fruit-bearing trees such as mulberries, golden queen mangoes, bignay, guyabano, cacao, and to name a few more, dwarf coconuts, and many more. Let me share you how I got started in farming. Back in high school, I really wanted to have my own business, but don't know what yet. When I learned about our farm in the province, I asked myself, why not? So I went and studied in the University of Santo Tomas, BS in Entrepreneurship, because I really wanted to know the business side first. Good thing there are agribusiness subjects that I took during my 3rd and 4th year, and that's where I learned about organic farming. After graduating and with around the 15,000 pesos as my capital, I started my adventure in farming. The first thing I did is to train in TESDA for the NC2 organic production. I learned everything from creating your own fertilizer to harvesting your own produce. As you can see in the picture, that was my last day of the training in the NC2. It is located in Tagaytay. And so I wanted to introduce organic farming to the farmers in Quezon. At first, they were skeptical because it was their first time hearing about fish amino acid, fermented plant juice, and many more. It was hard because you are telling the other farmers who had a lifetime of experience that there is a better alternative, and that is one of them is organic farming. So what I did was to convince them by making a fertilizer and making them use it. So as you can see on the right picture, the fertilizer they used was in the pechay. So after a month, they gave me those pechais and said that the pechais were sprayed with organic fertilizers were bigger compared to the conventional pechais that they were planting. So slowly, that convinced them to use organic fertilizers in the farm. So I started showing the farmers how we could save money by creating our own fertilizers, such as calphos or calcium phosphate, used eggshells from bakeries near the farm. We also use rejects in the nearby market to create compost and other fertilizers. So I sell my produce to at least three places before pre-pandemic. The first one is a what we call Bagsakan in Sariaya, where we sell our produce in bulk. Another one is the weekly market in our town, where I'm part of the Sariaya Organic Producers Association. And lastly, I also deliver in Manila. I market my produce in Manila as fresh because they get my produce hours after we harvest it or just a day after. So we eliminate the middleman and they get it very fresh. So I wanted to invite more young people into farming. The opportunity came when Philippine Science High School of Quezon City approached me and wanted to do a farm immersion program with their grades 11 and 12 students. So here in the picture are the two batches I mentored or I taught about farming 2018 and 2019. So I taught them the basics from creating your own fertilizer to planting seedling to harvesting the vegetable in the wee hours of the day. It was like around 3 a.m. They were with the other farmers harvesting sitaw. And yeah, to also make things creative for them, for their farewell lunch, they had to catch and cook their meal. As you can see on the right side of the picture, they caught their lunch for their farewell lunch. So we taught them how to clean and cook their meal properly. Next is I also let them experience the old and new ways of using tools, such as using the carabao for plowing the land. Also to use the new technologies such as hand tractors to let them know the difference. And maybe they could in the near future could create better tools for farmers, right? I also did a collaboration with BFF Camp or Batang Filipinos Camp, where I taught how to create fertilizers with around kids ages around 8 to 13. Yeah, but for this year, since there is a pandemic, I have collaborated with my professors in UST to share my experiences to college students who are taking up agribusiness subjects for their online class. And actually, recently, a few weeks ago, I was appointed to be one of the founding members of the Agricultural Fishery Youthpreneurs Council. So a few farming habits that I think everybody could do and might help them in the future if you're going to be into farming. I think the first one is always find the new thing, whether it may be finding a new trend in the market, a new technology, a new seeds or plants that could be helpful in your farm. For example, here in our farm, before we use seeds as our seed that we use seeds. Now we also buy grafted seedlings, such as the grafted tomatoes on the left side because it grows, it produces more and bigger tomatoes. We also contacted Phil Rice for their solar soil sensor for to monitor the moisture level of our soil. And yeah, the next one would be always ask questions. When I first started and during my training in the NC2, I always ask questions to to learn more because I really, to be honest, when I started training in TESA, I really don't have any knowledge of the practical farming and benchmark. So an excellent way to keep improving production, or basically the whole purpose is to get better and learn from others. So yearly before, we me and my family we would go to different farms to learn about their process, how they market their produce, what they plant, how they plant it, and they give us different ideas to better our production and the business all in all. So the other one would be networking. Networking is a valuable tool for any entrepreneur and farmers. This is a way of sharing and learning from other farmers, just like benchmarking. But I think the difference is networking is you get more from from the other farmers. And I think lastly is to enjoy work. For me, farming is a challenging but fun business. It uh, it has different problems every day, so it makes me do different things every day. So it's very enjoyable. So again, thank you. That is all. If you want to collaborate, to contact me if you have questions, these are my contact details.
All right. So thank you so much, Leo, for that very informative and inspiring presentation about local roots agricultural farming and services. Um, I hope that the youth learn quite a lot in your sharing about how you started in farming and essential farming habits for starters. Circa resonates with your key point takeaways. Once again, to reiterate, let us always find the new thing. Let us always ask questions. Let us remember to benchmark, network with others, and lastly, don't forget to enjoy your work, enjoy your passion. We are one with you in fostering this stock of yours to encourage more millennials to venture into farming and agricultural and rural development. Again, thank you so much, Leo, for your time. Maraming salamat, Leo, para sa oras mo ngayong umaga. All right. So for our second speaker this morning, she is a graduate of Master of Science in Community Development at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. She also built technical and marketing management skills in conservation agriculture, in vegetable production systems with poor households in agricultural cooperative, and develop project plans of a prototype for a newly conceptualized of conservation agriculture vegetable product for 100 poor households. Last but not the least, she is holding a position as Assistant Project Manager of Sustainable Product Produced to Market Value Chain Enhancement Project, or the ProMarket, at Adventist Development and Relief Agency, or the ADRA, in Cambodia. Let us all welcome Ms. Sel Rechaney.
Thank you so much for introducing myself to, and also the glad to be the part of the SEARCA. I would like to share you our journey together in my experience as a youth leader in community, also in the organic vegetables gardening, and as a woman entrepreneurship. that having experience so long together based on the vegetable production, as you mentioned, boss. Right now, I would like to share you uh, why as a youth important to lead the community and engage in agriculture sector. Uh, a youth as important person is a core person to the recover or to improve our technology. That is youth can is a potential to access the new agriculture technology. As example, right now in Cambodia context, most our people move forward to be investment on the agriculture based on the connection with others company or other new technology or import supply or other agriculture equipment. That is the youth is a key person who potential to share in in com- uh, in community. And then the new market linkage based on agriculture, a new market linkage we will look into uh, uh, to the technology, also to the uh, uh, business concept or business model. How can to bring our community product to the high value market or to the market. Right now, our producer group in local community, we are quite need to be improved to be linked from the local community to the to market. And then innovation and creativity. The innovation we look into the word of innovation. It lies the new thing. The new thing come from the new generation, and the new generation can be learned from the previous experience together with their parent generation to their generation, and to update technology in the next generation to create a new thing for apply improve the production based on the value and the quality of the product to access with the market demand in the community. And creativity. As I am a youth, I'm how to passionate to create, to looking for something new to fix the problem or to challenge in the current problem in our generation or our time. Uh, and then why is organic vegetable gardening important to having a soft food? We still advocate. We are keep advocate on organic vegetable garden as important because even in the community, we are right now reconsider with the nutrition consumption for every people in community. So every people, every household in the rural community have considered how to organic vegetable at the less spend and get a very high nutrition of food and can grow by themselves. And also, it's a part of organic vegetable is to reduce the environment pollution, as you know, every day. I mean that every day our environment to be uh, destroyed by any pollution, even uh, uh, in the new pesticide control or somehow, so that that is our generation to be take care, to be protection, to be looking for a new concept to reduce using a pesticide or to be safety with our food for our community. Also, sustainable production. Sustainable production means that we can produce a long term and can share more can share more production in our next generation. We cannot only produce only our in the generation, our term, but we have problem in next our generation. But even in the previous generation have some problem. But right now in our generation is as a youth to be attention to looking for the new thing and to protect, to take care our community because we can start a small thing to to fish with our big dream. So we start from our community. And how to engage with producer in sustainable production mean that when we uh, gather to all the people in community to consider with our sustainable production, we have to think about the new technology. What is new technology for them? We have different category of the new technology. Technology based on the production, technology based on post harvest, technology based on the business linkage for our community production to our high value market, and about the crop, how different variety of crop, and how can we uh, 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 looking for or researching or demonstrate or try all the new crop to apply in our community. That is a key term for our youth consider and thinking, and how to create the passion to invest our term together with our community and together with our sustainable production based on agricultural sector. And profit generation, when we look into the profit generation, it means that our food is organic, our food is potential for the community. We have create the profit generation to both community and both in our market side. So everyone need the sustainable together with the profit generation and market linkage. Right now, we're looking for the new market model in our, I mean that our generation. We have many modern technology. Right now, even we are promote our product, we are also promote through our social media somehow that can be reduced after our operation expense somehow. That why in Cambodia most our youth we consider to invest the invest on our new term of the business on the production, like they have to building the the green shop. We can high value market vegetable production, also fruit production in the market, also how build the that agriculture equipment shop to share to our in community or provide technical to all the producer in the community. And who are involved in the organic vegetable garden. The organic vegetable garden can start from the small scale farming to the medium scale farming. Why? Because the small scale farming, we that we use our potential small scale land to be produce a soft food for ourselves and sell the profit. Also, sell our expand in family. In the medium, they can invest ourselves vegetable and can get the profit from their small scale and the large medium scale farmer. Uh, when we move back to our female entrepreneurship, women entrepreneurship, why is important for the women to get involved in agribusiness? As my experience, take along together with agriculture sector, we keep in mind how can we, even we have only a technical in our side, but how can we make ourselves to be important to with agribusiness, because we have to be most of according to our research or our experience, women as a very potential empowering, because in startup the new business also start up with the investment with agriculture sector. We have to get ourselves to empowering ourselves to get the new thing, inspiring to engagement to solve the problem in step by step, and creative and passionate, optimistic. It means that women as most likely are optimistic with their goal, their passion, their creation in the new challenge and new term in agribusiness. Economic. When economic, we consider on the profit generation and sustainable development on the business side. But women are the fixed to invest ourselves, our time, in our generation as the youth in investment in the agriculture sector is most important to help develop our community, also to develop with our uh, uh, country. Uh, yeah. And then what can women do to get investment in agriculture sector? Yeah, the most important for female or the for youth in community or the youth, our youth generation, we have to develop ourselves on leadership management, financial management, marketing management, and technical term, also operation management. That is the term can help improve us to can help us to get opportunity to invest to get a profit to build our community to be the green. And what can women do to engage in investment in agriculture? One more thing is engagement with private sector. We have to looking what our even in own country or in outside the country. Mean that we have to think in outside the box, looking for the new thing and can be spend the time, spend the money, spend the mean that capital to invest to get our new product to share with our community, and also the government, because government have many projects and have many concept to pushing the production in community to move forward. That's why we have to connection engage together, and non-NGO organization also have the project to be involved. Also community, the community is a key term that we can should be invest much on for them. In Cambodia context, we have focused on the agriculture. I mean that agriculture association or the agriculture private sector somehow in the community. Right now, we also have one a group that we call producer group in the community to get together to create to mean that we use as a group and supply as a group to the market. And also, I would like to share a few more some of our activity to be we are investment. We now we working with every province, every producer group in the Cambodia to supply the quality special supplier to all the producer, because we noted that how many of the farmers try to extend the production. Oh, sorry. We would like to share you some photos here. Is mean that we are that group as youth that we are invest a lot of mean that invest to looking for the new agriculture equipment and invest on it and get it to supply to all the producer group in community to use it, invest based on the product like special product that we can share to our even the youth, even those generation somehow to can use it with the life skill and the human skill even in organic vegetable production in community. And also we would like to share more here some of our production. And thank you so much.
All right. So to Sel, our SEARCA Scholarship Awardee, thank you so much for your time and for sharing to us how to empower the youth, especially young girls and women, to be a leader in their own community. Majority of our girls at a young age are pretty much discouraged to take agriculture and other related fields. And I think it's a good thing because it's now really high time that we empower them and be proactive about this part. And we can urge them to venture more into farming and in agriculture and rural development. Also, Ms. Sel, thank you also for touching some vital aspects of youth engagement in agriculture, such as why are youth important to lead the community and engage in the agricultural sector, as well as why is organic vegetable gardening is important and more than ever essential in having safe food. Moreover, we appreciate your contribution to the scholarship of SEARCA in including gender in youth and ARD. Right, so once again, thank you so much, Ms. Sel Rechaney, for your time this morning. Som arkın, som rape velido blay lubune ni prakne kanye sa Rechaney. Again, may I remind our online attendees who are watching the webinar via Facebook Live, please start typing your questions now in the comment section, including your location and country of origin. If you are tuned in via Zoom, please post your questions in the Q&A box at the bottom or top of your screen, depending on the gadget you are using. All right, so we're now down to our last speaker. For our third speaker, he is a Bachelor of Science in Agriculture graduate who majored in horticulture in the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, Laguna. While at the university, he also served as the chairperson of the University Student Council of UPLB and a former chairperson of the National Union of Students of the Philippines Southern Tagalog. At present, he is the regional coordinator of Magsasaka at Siyentipiko para sa Pag-unlad ng Agrikultura or MASIPAG Mindanao. It is a national network of farmers and scientists. Our last speaker is also a lecturer at the Community Technical College of Southeastern Mindanao, a school that provides a free education for children of indigenous people and farmers. And lastly, he writes a column in Green Minded, Thoughts of Philippine Agriculture Today at DavaoToday.com. This is Davao's first online news. So without further ado, let us all welcome Mr. Leo XL Fuentes Jr.
Thank you for the introduction, Nathan. To Dr. Gregorio, Dr. Quaresma, Dr. Ramos, and to all of us, especially to our fellow youth, magandang umaga, salamat pagi, good morning to all of us. I hope and wish that you are all safe and healthy amidst this pandemic. This pandemic is indeed a wake-up call for all of us and a tragic proof that the old normal failed us. Allow me to share some insight on what used to be the old normal and our task, especially the youth, towards our march towards a better future, to a better normal. Let's talk about the global food situation. This was a presentation, this was an infographic presented by Ms. Irior, citing in 2000, released in 2015. This used to be the old normal. No? The food created can feed 12 billion people in a time where the global population is only 7.7 billion. Yet, 2 billion people were malnourished. 795 million are hungry. Indeed, the old normal failed us. During the pandemic and a few months ago, the World Food Program warned us that the next pandemic could be the hunger pandemic. Moreover, according to one professor, Dr. Teng, in also a webinar, he also presented that there is a brewing perfect storm for the Asia and the Pacific for food security. He mentioned with the presence of the or the spread of the swine fever, armyworm infestation, with climate change, this would be a brewing food or hunger, food security threat. Here in the Philippines, we experienced during the lockdown, during the 3-month lockdown with COVID-19, there are around 4.2 million Filipinos who experienced involuntary hunger. That means those who are in diet are not included. These are involuntary hunger within the 3-month lockdown. Moreover, aside from these threats, the aging farmers and the lack of youth's interest in agriculture could also be the final string for this hunger. We ask why the youth are not are disengaged. Why the youth are lacks interest in agriculture? According to our research, from Food and Agriculture Organization, UNFAO, CTA, and IFAD, the lack of resources and also the Asian Farmers Association for Rural Development, there's a common findings that their key conclusions is that the youth, especially the rural youth, do not have access to land, among other resources. While the continuing dogma of profit over people resulted and even perpetuated the old normal. The old normal that is massive land and crop conversion for big agribusiness plantations and the massive use of synthetic fertilizers. The old normal is equivalent to, we can say, there's a lack of opportunities for the youth. The dominant export-oriented and import-dependent agriculture in the Philippines failed us. I grew up in a province where rice fields are being converted to banana plantations. Youth of our age, or even younger, end up as cheap laborers. On the screen, you can see there are pictures and a caricature. One is presented by the Jakarta Post, where massive land grabs are being done, not just in the Philippines, but in the entire global south. That's in Indonesia, Myanmar, and even other countries. Thus, there is a great need for a more humane and sustainable food system. If we want to engage more youth in agriculture, we must veer away from that old normal, as it failed us. Now, when we say we in MASIPAG, as a network of farmers and scientists, we do believe that the new normal should be a better normal, which we advocate for agroecology. Agroecology is a holistic approach to sustainable agriculture and food system. According to Miguel Altieri, to put it simply, agroecology is both a science and a politics. That is grounded, we in MASIPAG believe that it should be grounded in 4 dimensions. First is the environmental dimension. Next is the economic dimension, which the earlier presenters shared, that there's a need in order to sustain, that it must be profitable. Next is the social and cultural dimension and the political dimension. We in MASIPAG, what do we mean by environmental dimension of agroecology? So first, the farmers must have access on resources such as seeds. That's why we have this CIME program: collection, identification, maintenance, and multiplication, and evaluation of seeds. We are teaching farmers to be breeders, and eventually became scientists, farmers as scientists. We also have this program of developing sustainable agroecosystems that focuses on the balance of the ecosystem, but creating sufficient goods. Also, as Sel mentioned earlier, it's important. It's a vital component of the new normal that we must advance is the women. Women empowerment is important, as well as to invest in our youth. We also have this farmer-to-farmer mode of transfer, as it is the most effective for us. The most effective way to convey a message from one farmer to another is this kind of approach. Also, we have this, we call that farmer-led approach, which the farmer's interest is always at the forefront of our advocacies. Okay. Aside from Masipag, I also share that I'm a lecturer in this Lumad school. Lumads are indigenous people of Mindanao, no, the southern part of the Philippines. There's this school that provides free and relevant education for these indigenous people. No, it provides, and in the curriculum of these Lumad schools, no, in these IP schools, the students, we integrate in their curriculum farming, no, to encourage them, food, and even processing of verbal products, no, using the indigenous knowledge system. They grow the crops that they want to eat. They raise the animals that they need. So now, we ask, no, as a youth, on the individual level, how can we contribute in doing the better normal, in advancing the better normal? For me, on a personal level, I started during the COVID pandemic. We started this urban gardening, no? On an individual level, I tried to grow my food, but we must not limit ourselves on our home, no? There's also a need, no, to support our farmers. We must join our farmers. We can share if we have extra, no? In Masipag, we organize these mobile hot meals for those who suffered hunger during the pandemic. We also promote product processing for the farmers in order to extend the shelf life of their produce, as well as we facilitate markets, no? And we encourage to buy, especially here in the Philippines, which we are challenged. No? The rice farmers are being challenged by the rice liberalization. So we are encouraging, we are campaigning that more Filipinos must buy the locally produced rice as well as the organic rice that our farmers produce. And most importantly, there is a need. Aside from our individual efforts, there's a need for us, no, to be an advocate for land reform and agroecology, because that's the ultimate reason why the youth are being discouraged or disengaged in agriculture, because they don't have access to land. So let us promote land reform and agroecology. So from individual level, we can move to a collective consciousness, to promote advocacies for land reform and agroecology. So that's my presentation. That would be the last. Thank you, SEARCA, for creatively organizing this webinar, as it is timely. We are compelled to act, and the time is now. Terima kasih banyak. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much.
All right, so thank you so much, XL, for your very moving presentation. Thank you also for taking the time to tackle the disengagement in agriculture and current challenges that confront our youth, especially those in the rural areas. The call for a need for a better normal through sustainable agriculture and the role of the youth in the march towards a better normal, like the need for food security and also genuine rural development, is more than ever timely to resonate the plight of most of our brothers and sisters. Thank you also, Sir XL, for introducing to us agroecology this morning, and also the MASIPAG way of helping other people. Once again, thank you so much, XL. Daghang salamat sa imo gahatag nga oras karong butanga, Leo XL. Saludo po kami sa iyo. All right. Now, I guess we will now be moving to the Q&A portion. All right, so this question is addressed to all our speakers. So this question is from Miss Nova Ramos. So the question is, can you give some recommendations on how the youth can be totally engaged in agriculture and how they can consider a future career in the agriculture sector? May I first call Mr. XL to answer the question?
Yes, thanks, Doc Nov. first, maybe we can encourage them through appreciation of our food, no? Because my former professor back in the university shared that there's no such thing as food not that didn't came from agriculture. You know? So we must appreciate our food, no? Where it came from, no? Also, especially now, which my fellow Leo shared earlier, and as Sel, no, that there are also technological technologies available, especially for the youth, no. So if you're fun with the Android app, no, let's try to make Farmville in the most realistic way as possible. There are also mobile apps, especially some of the youth, especially who doesn't come from agriculture, who don't have background in agriculture, have this difficulty in terms of knowledge, the technical aspects of it. No, so there's also an app, urban gardening app. There are lots of mobile applications that they can access through. No, so maybe as a stepping stone, they can start with that first.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Excel. May I now call Miss Sel Rechaney?
Yeah, thank you. Uh, how to engage our youth to collaborate, invest in get time together in agriculture in rural community. We have the key value ourselves because our youth always have a goal, have a dream to be something new for the passion, the goal, and then they just to show how the value of our agriculture, our mean that agriculture sector, where is to produce a sustainable food with agriculture, with technology, we cannot have the self food or have cannot have the food every day. Food from the agriculture. That is a key term value to engage the youth to be investment there, generation time of them to be invest for uh, uh, the agriculture in the community.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Sel. Now let me hear the insights from Mr. Leo Casaclang.
Hi. I think for me, I agree with Mr. Leo what he said, but I think also I think we need to engage the youth, especially the kids when they're still young, to learn more about agriculture, to engage them by teaching them how to grow their own food, so that when they grow up, they don't they have um,
Oh my goodness.
they know how to appreciate the food, like Mr. Leo said. So that if they appreciate the food, they could consider going to agriculture. Also, I think another thing is I think one of the questions, the income prospects. If they if the youth knows that agriculture is profitable, I think they could be more engaged into farming.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Leo, and to all our speakers. Now let us proceed to the second question. So for the second question, this is addressed to Miss Sel Rechaney. Okay, to Miss Sel. Um, as a young entrepreneur and advocate of agriculture and rural development, how would you assess your extent or degree of influence to the community or communities you are working with before and during the pandemic?
Thank you so much for the question. About the COVID-19 pandemic, we have struggling everywhere to be work from home, or somehow cannot go directly to the community. But what we are doing with our social media, we have learning, sharing. We have the group out the mean that the community through Facebook page or through the Facebook group to share, to learn, on also connection to provide the training or to provide the consultation through our Facebook, also our messenger. While our community, also some of our farmer also can access with our new technology so that we can connect, and then one of the keyword in community can share to other member. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Sel. Now for the next question. This question is from Miss Violeta Villegas. All right, so Miss Villegas' question is for Mr. Leo Casaclang. All right, so Mr. Leo, this is the question. Please share some income prospects of your farm, if you may. Since income is a very good motivation to venture in agriculture, I admire your zeal and passion in your chosen work. I know it is difficult to place peso value on the happiness and sense of accomplishment that you feel. May you be contagious and infect others to follow your path.
Okay. I'll give you a bit of an example of what we earned in the farm a year ago. So our farm earned around 40 to 60K from ceiling trick or the red hots when there was a high demand for it. Another thing is I sell my lettuce at 320 pesos in Manila. And I could sell around 30 kilos per week. So that's around 9,600 pesos per week. And less the labor cost and other expenses, that's around 5,000 to 6,000 pesos depending on the situation, and you get a net of a 4,600 pesos per week on lettuces, and that would depend on different vegetables. So if you find a good niche market, for example herbs, or other, if you could sell directly your produce to the consumers, that would be better because you would get more rather than selling it to a middleman.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Casaclang, for your insights. Now, this question is addressed to Mr. XL Fuentes. All right, so Mr. XL, the question is, what promising aspect in farming would you tell other youth to engage them in agribusiness?
As what the other Leo also said, no, there's it could provide extra income for the youth, no, especially right now. But beyond the income, no, beyond the marketing aspect, first, it should provide food first for us. No, one of the most pressing problems right now, before and even after, most especially after the COVID pandemic happened, is the food availability in our homes. No, so if we can fulfill that, no, one of the most the biggest chunk of our family budget is on food spending. If we can have, we can produce food, we don't need to buy it anymore. So it's also an additional income. Then, if we have a surplus product, we can market that, and not just the raw produce, but also if you are interested in cooking. No, before we used to have this small restaurant. No, we call that flat to plate. No, so we grow the food that we are selling. No, it also adds value on our produce.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. XL Fuentes, for your insight. Now, this question is addressed again to all the speakers. The question is from Dr. Josefina T. Dizon from the College of Public Affairs, all right, in UPLB. So, the question is, as youth advocates of organic agriculture, what personal values motivated you to advocate this kind of farming? May I first call on Mr. Leo Casaclang?
knowing people eat the food you grow, I think that's one of the things that push me more. People telling me that we like your food, we love how it tastes, how it's better, something like that. Another thing is like having younger people have go into go into I mean go into farming where they could be the next generation of farmers to uh, to in the near future. Well, yeah, like that. Then yeah, the passion for it is rooted there. If it's clear, if it's understandable. But yeah, for me, it's the things like that.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Leo. Now let me call Miss Sel Rechaney.
Thank you. What is what is the value that motivate me in agriculture? Because of beyond my family background, most of our generation we are attend much to do mean that farming. So in my generation, that is my optimistic and my goal. Also, my passionate to improve agriculture in community as a part I from. I spend the most of our time in our youth time to invest to the improve agriculture sector in our community, also in our country, and also invest our capital to improve our agricultural technology applied to community. That is a passion that we get from our family background.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Sel. Now let us hear from Mr. XL Fuentes.
Maybe it's about the importance or the values for life. No, if you want, if we do value life of the individual as well as we value the environment, no, that's what encouraged me to do or to promote agriculture and agroecology.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fuentes. Now, for the next question, this question is addressed again to all the panelists, everyone. So the question is, in your organization or company, are you currently open to accept student interns from other institutions? Are there particular qualifications that you are looking to consider to accept such students who will be interested in venturing in the agriculture and farming? Let me first call Mr. Leo Masaklang.
For me, as long as you are very interested in farming, very welcome. People are welcome to go into the farm, to our farm in Sariaya. I'm not. I'm still contemplating when though because of this pandemic. But we are very open arms to people and young, most especially young adults who are very interested in learning about farming.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Casaclang. Now let me call Mr. XL Fuentes.
Yes, Ethan. Well, for the past decades, no, Masipag has been hosting interns, both undergraduate, masters, and even PhD students. No, and also we are hosting not just those who have this formal education, but even those who want to learn agriculture on the ground level. So we are open for that.
Yes, in Cambodia, also in our organization, also in our in that investment we also very appreciate or really welcome to you to join with our program, also our activity in community. Also, we how to mean that promotion or how to encourage our next generation to be invest their time to learn more from agriculture, especially invest their time with the community. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much to all our speakers. The next question is specifically addressed to Mr. Leo Casaclang. For um, the question is from an attendee from Davao City in Mindanao. So the question is, Mr. Casaclang, what were the challenges you have encountered in your venture, and how did you overcome those?
Okay, I think the first challenge that I encountered when I started farming was what should I plant? I think that was the very first problem that I had. I didn't know what I wanted to plant first because, to be honest, there are different types that I could plant. And so, yeah, so I had to. Another reason because where should I market it after I plant it? Because one problem is again is the middleman where they buy you in bulk but in a low price. So that's another problem. So what I did uh, was to study the market. To be honest, where when should I plant this kind of plant? Because there are seasonal plants such as cauliflower that could be only be planted by Vermont, and that is a very high value crop. Another thing is again the ceiling trick or uh, the red hot peppers. So what I did was firstly is to find a market where I could sell my produce, such as Manila, where I sell directly my produce. Another thing is to establishments where I could be their supplier. Then with that, I could plan ahead what I should plan in the next few months so that I won't have any more problems with the scheduling.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Casaclang. Maybe our other speakers could also share their challenges, how they have encountered or that they have encountered in their venture, and how did you overcome those? So let me first call Mr. XL Fuentes to share.
Yeah. Well, actually, in Masipag, since it's a developmental organization, one of the challenges first, no, is to convince farmers to shift, no, from the traditional, from the synthetic based into organic. Especially that here in the Philippines during the Green Revolution, most every government or every administration has this pet project, no, since Masagana 99 and so on. So, and mostly uh, on the framework of dole-out system. So, when we go to the field, people will tell us, "Oh, we are already old. Well, maybe you're not born yet. We are doing this kind of farming system. We are doing this chemical farming. So, who are you to tell us what to do in our farms?" No? That's one of the key challenges. In which, when we as how to overcome it, we usually have this cost and return analysis for them. So that's where that's their aha moment, no? that chemical farming is really not good for their profit.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Fuentes. Now let us call Miss Sel Rechaney.
Yeah, it is not quite different from the side from Philippines because our challenges is in that inspiring to motivate or to encourage our community to be considered our uh, organic production. But however, we are trying to share them with our benefit. I have is positive with the organic production in our side. Also, most likely also the time constraint, also climate change, and then the insect or pest in the community is quite challenging. We have to looking for the RU method to prevent or to protect it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much to all our speakers. Now, we have one question here. Okay. The question is from Bao Ngao Ho from Vietnam, who majors in plant breeding engineering. So the question is also, again, for all the speakers who would want to answer. The question from Bao Ngo Ho from Vietnam is, where I can learn to know all of regulation, okay, and rules to establish an organic vegetable garden. Would anyone want to first answer the question to all the speakers?
Yes, Nathan.
All right, go ahead, sir.
We have this site. We have this alliance, a network, federation. You can check, the International Federation of Organic Agriculture Movements, So, but in terms of the policies of the specifics, each country has different mechanisms for organic. Here in the Philippines, we have this National Organic Agriculture Board, forwarding the National Organic Agriculture Program. So we also have other organizations. We have the Participatory Guarantee System for organics. So the specifics depends on your country, but as a general, for the international organic movement, you can check again the IFOAM, the International Federation of Organic Agriculture Movements.
All right, thank you so much, Sir XL. How about our other speakers? Maybe you'll also have some insights regarding the question.
I think Sir Fuentes had already answered the question, but for me, when I first started, I think I did a lot of research from the internet, where I could learn more about organic farming, and there are different types of organic farming depending on what country. There is what we call Japanese technology, the Korean technology. There are different types. So I think it's best to learn all of them and just to adapt what's best, what kind of technology or what kind of organic farming you could try in your farm or in your garden.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Leo. Let me call Miss Sel Rechaney.
It's not different from the others other. So what the first reason or the first can we start to be consider with the organic production? We focus on the geographical and the background of your location. That how long have been you have used a pesticide or how you use chemical. And so if the new location or new geography, it's easy for you to establish. Also, how to think about the crop that is axis together with your climate, your geographic. But for me, it's geography is more important for startup the organic. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much again to all our speakers. Now we have another question. All right. Again, this is addressed to all the speakers. The question is, what can you suggest to our government officials or even the individuals on how to promote and sustain organic farming, both in small scale, such as backyard farming, up to large scale farms? So let me first call Mr. Fuentes to answer this question.
Yes. First, for the individuals, no, let's start to do backyard farming. There's no perfect formula, no, but to try it, no. Farming is basically an experiment, no. In the context of the government, no, with the policies here in the Philippines, again, similar with the global perspective, one of the, not just for the youth, no, but basically for the farmers, one of the key challenges is the lack of land reform. So there's an urgent need, no, the in the Philippines, the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program expired already, yet 7 out of 10 farmers are still landless. So we cannot do farming, no, basically without the land for the farmers. So that's for one, the land reform. Also, for our network, Masipag, we have this bias, no, when it comes to farming, that should be organic. No, there's a need. We in 2010 we legislated the organic law, no, the Republic Act 10068 in the Philippines. Yet there are still amendments need to be passed, no, like for example the stringent policies on certification and so on. And aside from that support in organic law or in the organic program is that also the actual support system for the farmers. No? If we want to encourage more people to engage in agriculture, we must share with them, not just in the form of dole outs, but the entire the framework must be sustainable. For example, not just free seeds, no, but we must encourage, or we have a policy that to encourage our farmers that they themselves can store their seeds, no, along with other resources such as irrigation, farm to market roads, and so on.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Fuentes. Now let me call Mr. Casaclang.
I think Mr. Fuentes had said everything already when it comes to the public officials or something like that in the government. And I think what's best is like Mr. Fuentes said that for people, because I think most people are just afraid to do it because they're afraid that my plant died and I think I don't have a green thumb. Um, I think I don't have a green thumb, but I guess uh, just try it out, learn from it, and slowly you research about it. So I think uh, go past beyond your safe space when I think when just to try and plant. If it fails, research on how it won't die on the next one, because I think they're just discouraged when their plant dies, or if there is sickness or there were pests involved that they didn't know. So I think just encouraging them to try and try again until you perfected it to having produce like that.
All right, thank you so much from our brothers from the Philippines. Now let us hear from Cambodia, Miss Sel Rechaney.
Yeah, thank you. It's my turn. In our context, Cambodia is our organization. Our organization also even in our country, they are very promoting the vegetable production also in the organic production, even how many investment they have invest on the organic shop. They promote, they give the capital to our community, also our producer in the community to use it, and they can return with a profit. So right now in Cambodia is likely to promote a lot of organic production. even in the investment, also interesting to building the shop, the green shop, the supermarket also intend to get the organic production from the community, and also our organic, that our country also consider with that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much to our speakers. For our next question, this question is addressed again to all the panelists. The question is from Bea here in the Philippines. So here is the question. Why is it that organic products are more expensive than non-organic products? Let me first call Miss Leo Casaclang.
I think there's two reasons for me. That first is organic can be affordable as one thing. Organic vegetables can be affordable because of the. I think another reason why organic produce is costly is the marketing. They want to market to you that it is healthier because we use less chemicals, so the produce should be priced higher. But I think organic produce should be more affordable and more available to the market. I think that's it for me.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Leo. Now let me call Miss Sel Rechaney.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, quite reasonable that the organic quite expensive more than the non-organic in, because when we look back to our producer in the community, or if we have our own farm, how we have to take quite longer than the chemical product, because we have to spend to mean that you have a lot of high labor to protect, to take care. Also, we have to spend long time. So that is a reason quite expensive, but reasonable to afford all your expense with the soft food, because your food every day we have to take care. You have problem, you have to spend much in the hospital, but it's better to spend much on the soft food more than in the hospital. That is the reason.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Sel. Now down to our other final speaker. May I call Mr. XL?
Yeah. I do agree, on the earlier speakers that ideally organic should not be that expensive, which actually here in our context in Mindanao, and even in the Philippines, masipag farmers are selling their produce that is really accessible to all. On a not so serious answer, perhaps, I would like to borrow some words from Jennifer Chang, Executive Director of IFOAM Asia. Maybe the food being produced or sold in organic is the right price, in stark contrast to the foods being produced by these agribusiness plantations, which workers are not well compensated, So that's maybe one of the reasons. Another, in relation about marketing, in the Philippines, with the existing organic law, there's this restrictive provision of organic certification, which for us, as small farmers, have this difficulty in having this kind of certification, the third-party certification. That's why MASIPAG is also part of the technical working group on the amendments for the organic. That's why we are pushing for a pro-farmer kind of certification process through the participatory guarantee system. That in such a way, we can make it lessen the cost of the certification process, which is usually one of the reasons why the organic products became more expensive.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. XL. Now, I guess since we're running out of time, this will be the final question. And the final question is addressed to all our speakers once again. So, for the final question, this question is from Ms. Raylene Fruelda. The question is, how do you motivate the Southeast Asian youth of today to take agricultural courses and practice as well as champion them to take actions in their respective homes to minimize the food shortage, especially in rice existing problems we have, especially we are facing a COVID-19 global health emergency. May I first call Mr. Fuentes to answer the question?
Very wonderful question. It's like for a Miss Universe question, right? But basically, well, again, the challenge for us, and especially for the future generation, is the aging farmers. No, we must draw inspiration from that. No, it's really a serious challenge. So that's why there's a great need for the youth. No, to learn agriculture, to farm, no, for the food for our future. So that's one motivation. Well, while on the individual level, we can do this advocacies like less, eat less, and so on. But beyond that individual level efforts, we must also join global campaigns. No, be an advocate for land reform, for food security, for a sustainable future.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. XL. Now let me call Miss Sel Rechaney.
Thank you. It's quite still in challenging in our community, also in country. Much as our youth is quite just starting to attend or to interesting with invest the researching also in agriculture, especially the high school that they are interested in the agriculture costing. But what there are three key that they have to uh, that how to motivate them. The first one is personal value. Yeah, what is personal value is where most likely we are, some of them are background in agriculture, but we want to have the goal. And the second is the goal and the passionate to move to change our agriculture sector in their community to be the modern line one. And the third is the profit generation that is also sustainable development for the youth too. And that have the opportunity for them to to develop their capacity, their knowledge, and then to use their knowledge, the experience to share, to learn, and to challenge in the community, also in agriculture sector. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that very moving answer, Miss Sel. Now let me call our final speaker, Mr. Leo Casaclang.
Okay, I think both all of us here, all three of us speaker has the same um, agreement that young people should go into farming. They should try it. I think with this pandemic, uh, it shows that food security is a must. And another thing is that uh, it shows here in the pandemic that food is one of the basic needs that we need to we need. So that with that, um, it shows that agriculture is very important in our lives. So this hopefully encourage other people to try, even just to plant in their homes, to um, to another to make sure that they have their own food. Another thing is to support our farmers by buying their products, something like that. And lastly is to, again, um, uh, to the youth that are interested but just scared is try to go out to your comfort zone and research more about agriculture, so that with that you would be less scared in venturing into agriculture. So yeah.
All right. So thank you so much once again to all our speakers. That concludes our question and answer portion. All of your answers were very helpful. We still have a lot of questions, all right, lined up, but I am also mindful of the time that we have for this webinar. So rest assured that we will be sending your comments, all right, and questions to our speakers, and they will be addressing them as soon as possible. But before we close this webinar, all right, may I request our speakers for some closing or takeaway message? I would like first to call Mr. Leo Casaclang.
First of all, I would like to thank you for having us here, for giving us a platform to share our stories and to share our advocacies to the young people who are interested in agriculture, or even to young at heart people who are interested in going to farming. So yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Casaclang. Now let me call Mr. Fuentes.
Uh, Nathan, thank you. No? And also, SEARCA, MASIPAG is honored to share our stories and our initiatives. No? And also, for our fellow youth, there's a great challenge, no, to become, to be an advocate, no, for food security. And especially the previous question, no, there's a need, no, in the context of Southeast Asia, or in the global context, there's a need to deglobalize and start relocalize our food. That's all. Again, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much from our brothers from the Philippines. Now let us hear from Cambodia, from Sel Rechaney.
Thank you so much for a very useful for program webinar that we have give opportunity for the youth to join to share the experience in the community, also in our side. It's my inspiring word for the youth to spend the time to invest or to learn to share with the agriculture sector, because right now we really need our next generation to invest to learn more on agriculture, to find out new technology and new concept for apply in our challenging, also our new problem, because the new generation is very grateful for how agriculture, for how the sustainable development, also how the sustainable food consumption for everyone in global. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much for your very moving takeaway messages. Once again, with SEARCA, led by our director, Dr. Glenn D. Gregorio, we would like to express our sincerest gratitude to Mr. Leo Manuel Casaclang, Ms. Sel Rechaney, and Mr. Leo XL Fuentes Jr. for taking the time to join us today. Thank you for your presentations, which enlightened us on the different ways and means on how to address gender and youth in agricultural and rural development, as well as how to champion ARD in action in your own humble and simple ways. Thank you for everyone's presentation this morning. Now to synthesize all the learnings that we had for the month of August, which we had the webinar series on gender and youth in agricultural and rural development. So we learned how to address challenges, all right, and create opportunities for the youth. Different speakers coming from the different sectors were invited, such as from the education sector, from the agriculture sector, and even our mother organization, all right, CMIO, who imparted ways and means on how to cultivate this seed planted in our next generation. We also learned how to empower future leaders in Southeast Asia by listening to speakers from across the world, such as from Southeast Asia and of course from Africa and Colombia, to empower the youth in becoming an agent of social change and transformation. Lastly, complementing the first two installments of our August webinar series, our webinar this morning was able to enrich our knowledge on how to take actions to be champions in agricultural and rural development. May we continue to support our farmers and let us support our local products. And finally, let us encourage our youth to be an advocate of food security, especially that we are facing a global health emergency today. Ultimately, let us continue on empowering our young ones and our young ones young to make this world a better place to live in, especially that we are experiencing this crisis. All right, so before we close, please let us know what you think about this webinar by clicking the link to a quick feedback form, all right, which you can be found on your screen. So if you're registered via Zoom, you will be redirected to the feedback form before you leave the webinar room. Your feedback form is very important to us to help us improve the webinar. So for those who wish to receive an e-certificate, okay, for participating in today's webinar, the feedback form that you will be answering shall serve as a requirement for the e-certificate. Please note that we will only accommodate requests for the e-certificate within 24 hours after the end of this webinar session. Again, I would like to reiterate that we will be only accommodating requests for e-certificate within 24 hours after the end of this webinar session. We would also like to inform everyone that we issue hundreds of e-certificates after each webinar. So please make sure that you will type your correct name, okay, and email addresses. Kindly wait for your e-certificate to be issued within 10 working days. Again, thank you so much for your understanding and for your patience. Also, I would also like to use this opportunity. We would like to announce that the SEARCA's Youth Video Contest that we just launched last week, okay, is still accepting entries from Southeast Asian youth aged 15 to 35 years old. The theme for the video contest entries is youth and locally grown food, and the challenge is to create a video in no more than 3 minutes telling us why, how you're going to grow your food amidst the pandemic. So join now, all right? Exciting prizes awaits the winners who can give us both educational and entertaining video stories. Full video guidelines, okay, are available at the SEARCA website, which you can view at www.searca.org. Again, I would like to remind everyone that our next online conversation is going to be next month, okay? This will be on September 9 at 10 a.m. The whole month of September will carry the theme, okay, enhance agricultural and rural development towards climate resilience. So we will take a break, all right, and resume our Solve webinar series on September 9. We hope that you will join us again for another online conversation. It will be inspired by our speakers who made a mark in developing nature-based solutions and important dimensions of climate resilience to planning. Okay, so once again, let us help one another get through this COVID-19 pandemic. We hope that as we go along, we will be able to create a community of better, bigger, and smarter farmers and farming families. This is Nathan Perez Felix for SEARCA. Stay healthy, everyone. Stay safe and have a pleasant day to all. Thank you.